about today is stress and stress management. I've definitely found my own way of managing and handling this whole process. You know, I've written 4 books already, and so this is an update to my first book. So it's kind of like my 5th time around this whole rodeo, right? And I've learned some things, and it would be crazy if I went through this process for a 5th time and didn't take some of the things that I've learned the last 4 times and do them differently. You know, take some of the things that I didn't do right the first handful of times, and you know, when you know better, you do better, hopefully, right? So first things first, you have to prioritize your own health over all else, because what happens inevitably when we let things slip, like our sleep, like our exercise, like our nutrition, when we let those things slip, we're less productive in the thing that we're trying to get through. Okay, so here's a perfect example. 4 years ago when I wrote Practical Paleo the first time, because I feel like I rewrote the entire book, just so you guys know. So I was on the East Coast, the publisher was on the West Coast, and I'm on the West Coast now, which is definitely a bonus. But I wasn't as good at creating boundaries, and I wasn't as good at creating a formula for my day that worked really well for me. And so I wasn't making it a priority to work out early in the morning, get that out of the way, because I knew the day might be stressful. And by the time you go through a day of stress, 6 o'clock rolls around, you don't want to go to the gym, right? And you probably shouldn't, because you've been dealing with a ton of anxiety all day, and your body is in this really high adrenaline stress state, and you're just piling more stress on top of that. So working out later in the day when you're dealing with a ton of stress is not a good idea. So we would be talking about edits for the book, and I'm not laying any blame here. This is totally me not, creating the right setup for myself, but it might be 9 or 10 o'clock at night on the West Coast, and that means it was midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning on the East Coast. And so I was working until 1, 2, sometimes even 3 o'clock in the morning, multiple nights over multiple weeks, because I just wasn't setting my days up properly. I wasn't planning out what I needed to get done, when I needed to turn it in by. And, some people may be much better at turning things in ahead of time or dealing with deadlines. I basically will take as much time as I have, because I always want to add things. I always want to make things better. It's never good enough, which is probably, a little bit of perfectionism. But at the same time, if I have an extra day, I'm going to do something extra and try and make something better. So that's something I know about myself. And so this time around, I've made it a priority to first thing in the morning, and a lot of you guys have seen me going to the gym before 9 o'clock most days of the week, getting my exercise done, taking care of myself, getting me time in first. And by the time I get home and have some breakfast and start my day, I don't even remember it happened. The workout happened so long ago. By the end of the day, I got through a whole bunch of work. I don't have to think at 5 or 6 o'clock, oh, now I have to go work out, and I'm already so tired. I've kicked my day off in such a great way. And that has really set the stage for so many other amazing things, like making healthy food choices, even during stressful times. And that obviously contributes to having better energy to contribute to the project that you're working on or the stress you're going through. And then also quality sleep. So I think, again, a lot of you guys who follow me on Snapchat have seen me posting these goofy good night posts, because I lay down and within 5 minutes of the light going out, the cat is on top of me. He's cuckoo. He's not on me all day. You guys see, he's not on my lap now. I lay down and there he is. And in bed and pretty much asleep before 11, and often, by 10:30 even, and then I'm up again by about 5:30 or 6 or 6:30. So I think it's really important to, create those habits, get that stuff in place, and make it a priority, and don't compromise on the things that you need to do, because the rest of the day will be so much better the way that you handle the stress. So whether it's, a family member in the hospital, whether it's, a child who is sick, whatever it is. And I know for a lot of people, if you do have kids, it's a matter of rearranging things, figuring out ways to have someone help. Maybe it's dad is helping watch the kids, or having a sitter come really early, or who knows what it's going to be. Everybody, we all have to figure out our own stuff. I can't figure out, what kinds of limitations and what kind of opportunities we all have. They're all really different, but it's important to do that. Another thing that's really helped me is having a planner. I'm going to show you guys really quickly so you guys can see little checklists that I was working on. I needed to keep track of a lot of different pieces of the book that I was editing. And so really keeping track of it this way so that I didn't forget, if I had to walk away and do something else, where was I? What do I need to get done today? What do I have to turn in? And I think that's really important. So the last thing I want to mention is some supplements. I do talk about this in Practical Paleo. I don't give specific brands in Practical Paleo because I think there are a lot of practitioners who are going to use the book with you, and there are tons of practitioner quality lines that will have similar products, and so it's not critical that you get these specific products. When it comes to the meal plans and it comes to the supplements, I think it's helpful to have a practitioner that you work with. Supplements are mostly things like vitamins, minerals, and herb combinations, and for the most part, not going to be harmful if you take something that maybe you just didn't need, but some of them may have some stronger elements. Like I take an adrenal complex, and there is adrenal glandular in this supplement. These are from Designs for Health. So I've been taking an adrenal complex, it's called, and adrenatone. The adrenatone is adaptogenic herbs. I talk about these in the meal plan. And then for the days where I was feeling really stressed, I was taking the adrenal stuff twice a day. And then at night, I was taking some calming supplements. So some herbs, like there's a combination of different vitamins and minerals and herbs. So magnesium, B vitamins, passion flower, rhodiola, ashwagandha, all that stuff that I've talked about a bunch of other times as well. So it's definitely something that I feel can be helpful when your body is having a stress response and you're not sure how to get your brain to calm down. The supplements can really help with that, because if you feel like you're living in a way that should support not being so stressed, but you just can't get your brain to get there, I think the supplements are helpful. Thanks for joining me, and I will catch you next week. Bye, you guys.